Hey everyone, I'm Anja Esma and today we are talking about the 10 of Cups. This is another single card tarot study video where I talk about singular cards. I have done a lot of these at this point, so I'm going to put the playlist below so you can pick and choose which cards you want to look at. So just to tell you how this is going to go, I will put timestamps below for all of the different sections. First, I will speak about the numerology of the card, then I will speak about how it fits into the narrative of the whole suit. Then I will talk about the symbols in the image of the card, and then I will talk about the elemental energies that play into it, and then I will talk about warning and encouraging aspects of the card, because every card has something like a positive or a negative side, but I don't like to call it positive and negative. I like to call it warning aspects and encouraging aspects. So that's how this video is going to go. Here's the 10 of Cups, and let's roll right into that. So first of all, let's talk about the numerology of the card 10. If you've seen my video on numerology and tarot, you're already an expert on this, but let me tell you again. So the 10 is obviously the last card in the small suit. So you have 1 through 10 of Cups in this case. And the 10 is the final step of the journey. 10 is always a sense of completion. However, numerologically, in the 10, we have the 1 contained in it as well. Because in numerology, if you have a 2-digit number, you can always reduce it down to 1 digit by making the sum of the number. So 10 is 1 plus 0, which is 1. That's literally the only 2-digit number that results in 1. And thus, you have incorporated in the 10 the new beginning of the 1. So what we have to consider for this card is that yes, it is a sense of completion, it is a sense of accomplishment, and even something like perfection, especially with the 10 of Cups. Not all 10s are so perfect as the 10 of Cups. If you look at the 10 of Swords, for example, not perfect at all, but it is an ending. But with the 10 of Cups, you have this finalization of perfection. And with the 1 of Cups, you have, as usual, a new fresh dose of water energy, of Cups energy. And those two taken together sort of make up the 10. Whenever you have a 10, it's the end and the new beginning in 1. What this also means is that these cards really draw your attention to the lessons that you've learned and how you got to the place where you are. For example, with the 10 of Cups, this happiness, this accomplishment of an image with seemingly a family, maybe, a house, nature, just a beautiful piece of land that seems to be yours and a rainbow in the sky. It's almost too much happiness. So this perfect image is the result of everything you've gone through in the Cups suit. Which brings us to the second point, how the 10 of Cups fits into the narrative of the suit. The narrative of the Cups suit is very much about grief, emotions, shadow work, inner child work, and leaving things behind that no longer serve you. So the Cups are super emotional, and I would say it's one of those suits where the lower numbers are more negative, at least in our perception, and they draw attention to more heavy feelings like grief, like sadness, like pain. And the higher cards, they get better and better basically as you leave behind those heavy emotions. Now, the interesting thing is that in a lot of other suits, what do I mean by a lot of? There's 4 suits. But in other suits, often the lower numbers are seemingly more positive. And then as you get to 9 and 10, you realize that the path you took there was a bit problematic, actually. And then at the 10, it's a big exhaustion, like in the 10 of Wands and the 10 of Swords. Now, let's stick with the Ten of Cups here. So the whole narrative goes through a process of letting go. And the promise of the Ten of Cups when it comes up in a spread is often that you will come to a point of a nearly ultimate happiness if you stay the course of really working through your emotions, feeling your emotions, making space for your emotions. That's what the 4 and 5 are about very intensely, the 4 and 5 of Cups. And not suppressing them, not pushing them away. And I like to always think of the Suit of Cups as sort of a perfect process of working through an emotion, in the sense that it could have ended so differently. It could have ended with you trying to suppress emotions, ignoring them, but instead we have this slowness in the 3, which is just pain, 4, which is pondering about what was lost, and the 5, which is also about grief. You have this focus on emotions. And I think with the whole Suit of Cups, you have this idea that you have to live through emotions, you have to feel emotions, not just talk about them, feel them. And then that will enable you to get to that 10 of Cups moment and to get to that place where you are able to have what you want because you actually worked through the difficult times rather than just pushing them away. Yes, so that's how it fits into the narrative. It's the final stage of having first in the 8 finally let go, moved on, and then in the 9 having reached this first pedestal of, my life is good, and being sort of even bored by it. And then as you bear that boredom of stability, you get to the 10, which is an image of ultimate happiness. So let's talk about the individual symbols in the cards and what I see in them. So first of all, we obviously have the rainbow in the sky in the Mucha Tarot, which I often read with. It's not a rainbow actually, if you look at it. It's more of a emanating light from the 10 cups in the sky. So in contrast to the other cup cards, there's no fallen over cups, there's nothing spilled, they are all more or less upright. Some of them are a little bit crooked and might spill, but it's still largely abundance, and they seem to be full and not spilled on the ground. So that's positive, but I think if you look closely and you see that some of them are tilted, you also have this idea of maybe not everything is totally perfect. These cups are not perfectly straight lined up in front of you, but some of them are a little bit tilted to the side, but that's okay. There's still happiness, there's still bliss. Now, the rainbow itself is of course often associated with wealth traditionally. Nowadays it has taken a new meaning with the LGBTQ plus community, often using it as a symbol for their cause, for their mindset, for their lifestyle, for their values. So it has taken on that beautiful meaning as well of diversity and of showing that we are all individuals, but we are all worthy of love. That's sort of a new meaning. And the old meaning, I would say, is usually people associate it with having a pot of gold at the end of it. I don't know. I think that's pretty universal in Western cultures, that we think there's a pot of gold at the end of it. Maybe not. Maybe this is just a German thing and everyone is thinking like, what is she talking about? But no, I think people in America or England and stuff believe that too. So wealth is portrayed by this rainbow symbolically. And also, if you read it from today's context, love and diversity and individuality. Now, if we continue to look, we have this image in the classical Rider-Waite-Smith of kind of a nuclear family. It pretty much looks like a nuclear family in maybe the 19th century, judging by their clothes. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not a costume expert. So you have two children playing with each other, and then a couple sort of opening their arms. They are connected. So looking at first the couple, you have the connection between two people as the strongest bond, but also this openness to the world, because both of them are opening their arms. And it kind of seems like this land that they are looking at belongs to them. So we have this idea of ownership, of wealth, and of connection, like everything that you want in life, basically. And then you have the children playing next to them as well. I think it's worth noting that the children are dressed in almost the same colors as the adults in the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. So you sort of even have this idea maybe that these are not their children, but it's their inner children who are integrated, who are with them. Because remember, in the Six of Cups, you have this childlike fascination that the Six of Cups reminds us of. So a lot of the time, the cups are also about inner child healing. So having these two children, I feel, can of course mean, hey, you've achieved ultimate nuclear family happiness, or what is accepted as happiness and an ideal life by society. Or it can mean that you have also integrated your inner child, and they are going with you everywhere, and they are incredibly happy, which I think is quite beautiful. And obviously, if they represent the couple, was that a drill? I don't know if that was a drill. I hope you didn't hear that. But anyways, it also means that the couple is able to completely open themselves to each other. These two people are so connected that even their inner children are playing with each other, if you want to read it as the inner children. So quite the perfect image of a couple. Of course, the people can also stand for different personas within you. If you subscribe to the whole idea of having feminine and masculine energy within you, you could also read this as an image of integration between these two and balance between these two. Now, let's look at the other parts of the image. We have a river, and we have, I'm just looking down at the cards, sorry, I'm not looking at you, a river, some small hills, and some trees. So what I'm seeing here is also kind of a callback, for example, to the Eight of Cups, where you have mountains in the background and huge challenges that the person is walking towards. Whereas here you have small, nice hills. It means there are some challenges, some roadblocks, or bumps on the road rather, and they're easy to get over, because the river is going through them beautifully as well. Water always stands for emotions, so it seems like a very calm and balanced image of a landscape that is easy to traverse. So your inner landscape is basically not a raging ocean, not a thunderstorm, like in the Two of Discs, for example. It's not huge mountains like in the Eight of Cups, as I said. It's a nice, easy to walk through, to take a walk. I can't think of the right word. In German, we have a really nice word for taking a walk, but it just doesn't exist in English. So it's just nice to go through this landscape and easy. Now we also have a house in the background. It's kind of difficult to tell whether that's a church or a house, but it is only a singular house, which I think is interesting because it seems like sort of an encapsulated place for these two people. It's not a village, it's maybe not a church, probably not a church. It's just for them, it's their place of safety. So the card also signifies having reached safety, and having this space available to you, but not needing to be in it all the time. They're not in the house, they're outside, they're enjoying the countryside, etc. So yeah, one thing that I've noticed about this card that I find a bit off-putting is that if you look closely at the bottom left corner, and also just how they are standing there, and then there's this black line, and then you have the landscape, right? Looking at the card. It kind of looks like they're just standing in front of a picture. Don't you think? I've never thought about that in depth, but of course you could see this as a sign of performativity, and I will, is that a word? Performative is a word. Performativity? Performance, I guess, would be the noun. Not a native speaker, don't come for me. Yeah, so it might just be a performance that we are seeing, that these people are standing in front of an image and they're like, this is ours, but it's really just a fantasy of perfection. And I think that's quite interesting, and I will get back to that with the warning and encouraging aspects. But sometimes the Ten of Cups can have to do with us wanting to represent perfection or wanting to achieve perfection without actually having it. But we'll get to that in a little bit. Let's first talk about the elements that are displayed in this card. It's not a lot because there's no clouds, no air. I mean, air is everywhere, but clouds and wind would represent air, but there's no wind. It's just a perfect little landscape. There's water, obviously. There's earth, obviously, but no wind, no fire, nothing intense. As I said before, the suit of wands and the suit of swords are the two suits where you have the 10 being a rather negative card, where you're reflecting on your path and you're like, it felt good, but actually now that I'm at the top, it's not that great. And I feel like that's why you have in this image of perfection just earth and water, because they stand for physical and emotional perfection. That's about all I have to say about the elements. There's nothing exciting happening here. No wind, no fire, just smooth emotions, small hills, as I already said when I looked at the symbols. So all of that ties into the elements as well. You can read that as not many physical difficulties, health is good, no huge mountains of physical struggle, and also no emotional struggles with a windy ocean or a storm or rain or clouds. It's just all pretty good, but it's also kind of suspiciously good. Also, I forgot to mention, I'm trying press-ons for the first time, so if these look silly, they kind of do, don't mention it. Because I have long nails underneath and then these, and it looks kind of silly, but I'm trying it. And it looks good from afar, but maybe my camera's quality is so good that you can see that it looks kind of whack. In case you do, let's not talk about it. Ooh. I started mixing cocoa into my coffee, and now whenever I drink it, there's like huge clumps of cocoa. Okay, so let's talk about the warning elements and the encouraging elements of this card. As I have mentioned in the symbols section of this video, I think one of the warning aspects of the Ten of Cups is that it could warn you to overly perform an image of perfection for the outside world, rather than sometimes being vulnerable and sharing your feelings and kind of going into what the lower numbers of the Cups suit are about, and sort of working through your emotions. So for example, if you have a spread that is full of problematic energies, like you have, let's say, the Tower, the Ten of Swords, the Devil, the Moon, all intense cards of inner work, of limitations, and then you have the Ten of Cups like in the middle of it, it could be a promise of, hey, you'll get out on the other side, but it could also be a symbol of, hey, I think you're suppressing all of this. You're suppressing these other more problematic parts of you in order to show this image of perfection to others, but also to yourself. So yes, it could be about suppressing emotions, because a lot of people, they want to jump from the One of Cups to the Ten of Cups without doing any of the work in between. So then you don't have the grief, you don't have the problems, you don't have the thinking, the pondering, the decisions, the having to let go, having to work through emotions. You just want to jump right to the Ten of Cups and everything is perfect and everything is fine. So the Ten of Cups can be a warning to do that. Also, in my personal readings, the Ten of Cups once came up in a sense where I was trying to include everyone else's perspectives and make a perfect picture to figure it all out. I was trying to have my perspective be suppressed and just seeing other people's perspectives. Especially if maybe someone is telling you that everything is fine in a certain situation, but you know it's not really fine. Then the Ten of Cups can be like, hey, someone around you is trying to influence you, is trying to suppress what you feel is not perfect. Because as I said, sometimes the perfection in the Ten of Cups seems kind of suspect. It seems kind of, is there something going on here? Is this actually just an image that they are all looking at? Or are they actually in this perfect fantasy? So it can also be that someone else is trying to give you that fantasy and it's your decision whether you want to buy into it or not. Sometimes, because the Ten of Cups is so intensely positive, it can also encourage you to do the work of the cup suit all throughout. So, as I said, if it's in combination with problematic cards like the Ten of Swords, Devil, Tower, Moon, etc., maybe it's not telling you to act like everything is perfect, to not act like everything is perfect. Wait, what am I saying? It's not telling you stop acting like everything is perfect. It's telling you start the work to make it all perfect. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. We all know that. But it's telling you to go through the cups process and it's kind of giving you the vision at the end. It's like, yes, you have all these troubles, and contained within the 10, you have the full path of the 1 through 10 also. So yeah, having to go through that process. It can also encourage you to look at the positive side of things. I think this is how we see the Ten of Cups a lot. This is like the classical interpretation. The Ten of Cups is telling you, hey, stop looking at the negative all the time and look for the positive in a situation. It can sometimes be just as simple as that. We don't want to spiritually bypass, we don't want to ignore that there's issues, but sometimes we really block ourselves from seeing certain blessings, seeing the positive, and the Ten of Cups is like, hey, look at it, look at the blessings, look at what you could be grateful for, and look at the positive side of things rather than just the negative and the problems and the process. Now, I think a lot of people practically read the Ten of Cups also as a vision of familiar union, of having a sort of make-up moment within the family, of having everyone be better with each other. Whether that's a facade or not, that's up to the spread, how you would interpret that. But it can be about having to mend certain relationships and sort of showing yourself and other people the light at the end of the tunnel. The Ten of Cups can be telling you, hey, show someone else the light at the end of the tunnel. Show someone else that you want to connect with them, that you are open to that. You've done the emotional work and now you are ready to connect. So it can also mean that. It can also mean that, very simply, very straightforward, just positive. Okay, that's everything I have to say about the Ten of Cups. I loved recording this. Let me know in the comments what you thought of it. Did you see the Ten of Cups like this? Did I open some new perspectives maybe that you didn't see before? I really love doing this. And I'm really happy to see that people were commenting like, hey, now that you're back on YouTube, can you please make more of these single card study videos? And yes, of course, I'm going to do that. They are very joyful videos to make for me and very easy to make because I can just ramble about the cards spontaneously, and I love doing that. So thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more if you want to see more, and I will see you very, very soon.